Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping into three SQL operators you probably use every single day: between, like, and in. They're the absolute foundation of filtering your data. But here's the thing, are you really using them to their full potential? Or maybe more importantly, are you walking into a few hidden traps without even knowing it? Let's find out.
Okay, picture this. We have all been here, right? You write a query, you're absolutely positive it's going to work, you hit run, and you get back nothing. Zero. Rows. So what's the first thing you think? The data must be missing, right? Well, maybe. Or maybe you just stumbled into a silent, nasty bug in one of SQL's most common operators. Today, we're going to solve that mystery.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the Swiss Army knife of data filtering, using between for ranges, like for text patterns, and in for checking against lists. Then, we're going to pull back the curtain on a really critical bug that every single person working with data needs to know about. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a master guide, a little cheat sheet you can take with you.
First up, let's talk about searching within ranges. Anytime you need to find orders between two specific dates, or maybe products that fall into a certain price bracket, between is going to be your go-to tool.
At its heart, between is super straightforward. It just checks if a value is inside a range you give it. And here's the part you've got to remember. It is inclusive. That means the start and end values are included in the check. You can really just think of it as a clean shortcut for writing greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. All right, let's really dig into what's happening here. That first row, totally normal. 2 is between 1 and 3. Simple. But look at the second row. This is the gotcha. This is the big one. 2 between 3 and 1 comes back as false. Why? Because with the standard between operator, the smaller value has to come first. And it doesn't throw an error, it just silently fails, giving you 0 rows. So how do you protect yourself? Well, check out between symmetric. It sorts the values for you so you get the right answer no matter what order you put them in. All right, next tool in our kit is for taming text data. Whenever you need to find, say, all the names that start with the letter A, or every single product that has the word simple in its description, like is going to be your best friend. So like lets you see if a string matches a pattern you define. But the real magic isn't the operator itself, it's the wildcards you use with it. They're what gives like its power. And that power really comes from just two simple wildcards. First, you've got the percent sign. Think of this as the anything goes wildcard. It matches 0, 1, or 100 characters. It just doesn't care. And then you've got the underscore. This one's the precision tool. It matches exactly 1 character. No more, no less. Okay, let's make this real with a few examples. A pattern like A% is going to find anything that starts with A. So apple, Anna, avocado, you name it. Now look at underscore apple. This finds apple, but it won't find dapple because that underscore requires exactly 1 character at the beginning. Finally, if you want to find a word anywhere inside a string, just wrap it in percent signs, like %, That'll find it in apple, dapple, and simple. All right, on to our third and final tool in the main toolkit. Sometimes you don't have a neat range or a simple text pattern. Nope, you just have a list of things, and you need to check if your value is one of them. That is exactly what the IN operator is for. You can think of the in operator as a membership test. It's just asking, hey, is this value part of this club? And the cool thing is that club can be a hard-coded list of values you type out yourself, or it can be a dynamic list that gets generated by a whole other query. So you can see it in action in 2 main ways. You can use a static list, right? Just checking if an order's status is either shipped or delivered. Or you can get dynamic with it and check if a product ID exists inside the results of a subquery that's pulling all your active products. Super, super flexible. Okay, everyone, I need you to lean in for this next part, because this is probably the most important thing we're going to talk about today. We are about to uncover that silent bug I mentioned at the very beginning, a hidden danger that is lurking inside the not in operator. And look, don't just take my word for it. This is widely considered to be the #1 silent bug associated with this operator. This is the kind of thing that can have you pulling your hair out for hours, chasing a ghost in your data that isn't really there. So what is actually going on here? The whole problem boils down to something called 3-valued logic in SQL. You don't just have true and false, you also have null, which means unknown. Now look at that third row. When you use not in against a list,
and that list contains even a single null value. The database can't say for sure if your value is in the list or not, so the result isn't true or false. It's null. And here's the killer. When a where clause evaluates to null, that row gets thrown out. The result? Your query silently returns 0 rows, and you're left scratching your head. So, what's the takeaway? How do you sidestep this landmine completely? It's simple. You avoid using not in with subqueries that might have nulls in them. Instead, you use the much safer, more robust, and frankly, more professional solution, not exists. It's designed to handle these cases correctly and will give you the results you actually expect every single time.
Whew. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, so let's bring it all home. We're going to wrap this all up into one single, powerful reference guide that you can use as a cheat sheet.
If you screenshot one thing from today, make it this. For between, remember the order of the values matters. For like, it's all about your 2 wildcards. The % for anything, the underscore for exactly one. In is totally safe to use for finding matches, but for not in, remember the danger zone. A single null in your subquery can make your results disappear. The fix is always to use not exists instead.
So, we just uncovered one really sneaky bug that hides in plain sight. And it makes you wonder, right? What other things that you take for granted in your code, what other obvious assumptions are just waiting to break? It's always worth taking a second look. Thanks for joining me.